All right, today we're going to take our Pythagorean theorem and apply it to real world situations. So this is called Pythagorean Theorem Applications. Read each problem carefully, show your work, round to the nearest thousandth if needed. All right, so number 1 says, a tree is leaning up against the side of a house. The bottom of the tree is 14 feet away from the house. The tree is 25 feet long. How tall is the house? Okay, first thing we're going to do is find our important information. So let's highlight what's important. So we've got the bottom of the tree is 14 feet away from the house, and the tree itself is 25 feet long. How tall is the tree? Okay, so tree leaning up against the side of the house. So let's go ahead and just kind of imagine what that looks like. So I've got my house here. Okay, I've got my house. Really skinny house is what I'm going to make it here. See, got my little house. And we've got ourselves a tree that is leaning up against the house. Oh dear. Okay, now notice, I'm going to change my color here. This kind of looks like a triangle. Okay, so that tree leaning up against the house is creating our right triangle that we're going to use to answer this question. Okay, so I've drawn my picture, I've got my triangle. Now we get to label what we know. So the bottom of the tree is 14 feet away from the house. So that is going to be bottom of the tree away from the house. So that's going to be this distance right here, 14. And it also says the tree is 25 feet long. So tree is 25 feet long. That is our hypotenuse. So I'm going to write a 25 here. Okay. We do not know the height of the house. That's what the question is. So I'm going to label that as X. You could also put a question mark or an A or a B, whatever. Okay. Now our right angle is at the base of the house right here. So when I fill out my Pythagorean theorem, I have... change colors again so you can kind of see the difference here. I've got my A, I've got my B, and I've got my C. So let's fill that in. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I don't know my A, but I do know B. That was 14. And I know C, which is 25. Okay, once we fill in our numbers, we can simplify by doing our exponents. So 14 times 14 is 196. 25 times 25 is 625. All right, now I need to subtract 196 from both sides. And I'm going to get A squared equals 429, which means A equals the square root of 429, which is 20.71 for our final answer on number 1. Let's look at number 2. We're going to start by reading the question and then highlighting important pieces of information. Okay, so it says a 34-foot flagpole is casting a shadow that is 17 feet long. Okay, so 34 feet tall flagpole is casting a shadow that is 17 feet long. How far is the top of the flagpole from the end of the shadow? That is our question. I'm going to change colors here, and I'm going to highlight our question. How far is the top of the flagpole from the end of the shadow? All right, so I'm going to draw our picture in green again. So we have a flagpole. Okay, so I'm going to draw myself a little flagpole. Okay, and it's casting a shadow that is 17 feet long. So I have my flagpole, I have my shadow. Okay, I'm going to change colors and I'm going to draw in my triangle here. So I've got my 2 legs of the triangle and I have my hypotenuse. Okay, so the question is, how far is the end of the flagpole from the end of the shadow? And we're going to fill in the information that we know. So a 34-foot flagpole means that this flagpole is 34 feet tall. And then the length of the shadow is 17 feet long. So in this situation, they gave us both legs of our triangle, and we are looking for the hypotenuse, which is how far the top of the flagpole is from the end of the shadow. So I'm going to put a little question mark there. Okay, so now we know our A, B, and our C. A, B, C. Let's go ahead and fill those in to our formula. Okay, so our A is 34, our B is 17, and we don't know C. Next step is going to be to perform the exponents. 34 times 34 is 1,156. 17 times 17 is 289. And we don't know what C is. Next, we're going to add these two together. 1,156 plus 289 is 1,445. And then in order to find the value of C, we're going to take the square root of 1,445. Do that in your calculator, and you're going to get 38.01 is equal to C.